Not every truth sets you free immediately. Some will first shatter everything you believe to be real. What if your deepest pain is a reminder of who you were before you forgot? And what if what we call reality is nothing more than a misinterpreted code? This video is a warning. The 7 ancient codes you're about to hear were hidden by the masters themselves, not out of cruelty, but out of wisdom, because not everyone is ready to awaken. Have you ever felt like something was missing, even when you had everything? Have you sensed that time is accelerating and that the truth is right there, yet no one dares to touch it? These ancient codes were never erased. They were scattered across symbols, myths, and frequencies, and those who recognize them were always meant to find them. And if you have the courage to cross through all 7 codes until the end, a hidden revelation will be delivered in this video, not as an answer, but as a mirror. Code 1. The Seal of Silence. Why the Masters hid the truth. Why did the greatest masters in history speak in metaphors, parables, and symbols? Wouldn't it be easier to just tell the truth plainly? The answer is as ancient as knowledge itself. Truth liberates, but only when you're ready to carry its weight. Until then, it can blind you, break you, or be misused. That's why the masters sealed wisdom in silence and mystery. And if you felt something stir just by being here, liking this video and subscribing is more than just a gesture. It's a vibrational act of reciprocity, a signal to the universe and to the algorithm that you're ready to receive more of this knowledge. You're not just watching, you're co-creating what comes next. Hermes Trismegistus said that true knowledge should not be given to those who sleep, but to those who begin to remember for themselves. Jesus spoke in parables so only those with ears to hear would understand. And Buddha taught that truth must be revealed according to the maturity of the mind. The secret was never hidden from the world, but from the ego. In ancient times, mystery schools in Egypt, Greece, and India taught that initiation doesn't begin with words. It begins with vibration, silence, and presence. Because the rational mind can repeat ideas, but only the soul can recognize what it already knows. True knowledge is not taught, it is remembered. But why go to such lengths to hide something so essential? Because when a human being awakens their true nature, they become ungovernable. They no longer need dogma, gurus, or external authorities. They become free, sovereign, and dangerous to any system of control. And systems built on fear cannot tolerate that kind of light. Today, most people still live under the influence of a collective vibrational anesthetic. They may sense that there is something more, but we're trained to doubt what they feel and trust only what they can see, measure, or explain. That is the invisible prison, a world of intellect without intuition. The ancients knew that knowledge without consciousness is destruction. That's why so many sacred texts were distorted, and why the true teaching remains hidden in myths, symbols, and forgotten manuscripts. Because only those who seek with the heart can decipher it. And only those who silence the ego can hear the sound of truth. The seal of silence can only be broken from within. Helena Blavatsky once said that every sacred text contains multiple layers of meaning, and that each new reading unlocks a different key within. Have you noticed how, when you reread a book after years, you suddenly understand passages that once felt vague or irrelevant? It's not the text that changed, it's your consciousness that ascended. And that's why certain codes only reveal themselves when you're ready. If something has already started to stir within you, perhaps the seal is beginning to break, and in the next code, we'll unveil the first of the 7 universal laws that shape all reality, the most powerful and the most ignored. The code where everything begins. Code 2, the law of mentalism. Reality begins in consciousness. Have you ever stopped to realize that everything you experience begins with a thought? Before your job, your body, your home, there was an image, a silent idea that passed, unnoticed. But it was that idea that set the frequency, and the frequency that shaped the events. Reality is nothing more than a reflection of the invisible. Hermeticism calls this the law of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Everything that exists was first born as vibration within consciousness. Matter is condensed thought, decelerated energy, an idea that took form. That's why the mind doesn't respond to life. It creates it. Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, once said, "Behind this force is a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter." In other words, science has arrived where the initiates were millennia ago. The world is not outside of you. It pulses within and projects itself as scenery. But if the mind is so powerful, why do so many still live in suffering? Because there's a gap between what you consciously wish for and what your mind vibrates without your awareness. Your dominant frequency is not what you say, but what you feel in silence when no one's watching. And that vibration is what commands the field. This principle became widely known as the law of attraction, but as it became commercialized, it lost its true power. Without the understanding of the other universal laws, the law of attraction becomes an empty echo of unfulfilled desires. It is merely a fragment of the law of mentalism, and without the whole picture, the code remains incomplete. Have you noticed how the same situations repeat with different people? Why cycles of lack, abandonment, or frustration keep coming back? It's not punishment, it's pattern. The mind, when left unchecked, runs on autopilot and creates reality based on inherited beliefs, old traumas, and subconscious programs. You're living what your mind never dared to question. The good news is the code can be rewritten, but not with forced affirmations or wishful thinking. Reprogramming begins when you realize the world isn't happening to you. It's responding to you. Everything without exception begins in consciousness, and that's why the next code is so vital. If everything vibrates, even silence, then the question isn't what you want to live, but what frequency you're emitting while you wait. Because life doesn't respond to effort. It responds to vibrational coherence. Code 3, the energy signature, why your vibration speaks louder than your words. Have you ever walked into a room and felt chills without knowing why, or met someone who smiled at you, yet something inside you tensed? This has nothing to do with logic, appearance, or words. It's about frequency. Before any language, what truly connects or repels us is vibration. The energy field never lies. Everything emits an energetic signature. You, your thoughts, your home, even the silence you carry. This signature is like an invisible fingerprint. It comes before speech, influences encounters, and shapes the outcomes of your life. It's what the universe listens to, not your declared intentions. Many say, "But I'm trying to change." Yet the universe doesn't respond to what you try, but to what you consistently radiate emotionally. You may affirm abundance and vibrate fear. You may desire love and vibrate rejection, and the field registers what lies behind your words. Neuroscience shows that the body memorizes emotional states as chemical habits. So even if your thoughts change, if your body still vibrates with old pain, it continues to emit the same signal. And reality keeps obeying it. That's why ancient masters used silence, breathwork, ritual, and deep presence. They knew that vibration doesn't shift by force, but through coherence, and the highest frequency is the one that rises from within, effortlessly. Have you ever wondered why some people shift a room just by entering it? Why some can heal with a glance while others drain your spirit? Because everything vibrates, and everything influences. Your vibration is not just about you. It's a field that affects everything you touch. You are the transmitter, even in silence. And if the universe is responding to what you vibrate, then the next code goes even deeper, because there is a reason behind everything that keeps repeating. An invisible explanation for the cycles that seem endless. And perhaps the key to finally breaking them. Are you ready to face the mirror? Code 4, the spiral path. Why you're reliving the same lessons. Have you ever wondered why certain challenges keep coming back? Even after therapy, retreats, or moments of awakening, there they are, the same fears, the same patterns, with different faces but the same feeling in your chest. This isn't regression, it's the spiral of consciousness in motion. Hermeticism teaches that all things vibrate in cycles, but those cycles aren't closed circles. They are ascending spirals. You're not returning to the same place. You're returning with a new perspective, closer to your center, or your summit. The law of rhythm is clear. Everything moves in tides, high and low, light and shadow, expansion and contraction. While the world sees this as instability, initiates see it as soul refinement. Each return is a chance to integrate what was once only intellectually understood. But why does it hurt so much to revisit old wounds? Because now you see with more clarity, and pain is not punishment, it's vibrational adjustment. It's the soul purging what no longer fits this new level. It's the emotional body asking for release, and the field testing your coherence. This is where many give up. They think nothing has changed when in truth everything is about to. But change only comes to those who resist the urge to identify with the fall and honor the spiral as a path, not a prison. If you feel you've reached this point in your journey, there's a hidden map to guide your next spiral upward. A sacred knowledge preserved by initiatic schools, now available in practical form. Download the ebook. The Key to Prosperity Transform your financial life with the Hermetic laws and discover how to align your frequency with abundance from the inside out. You'll find the link in the pinned comment, and it's available now for a symbolic launch price. Because prosperity isn't something you achieve, it's something you sustain, and the spiral doesn't have to hurt once you see the pattern being purified. In the next code, you'll understand why, even with all this awareness, chaos still comes before the light. Code 5, the sacred rupture. Why awakening begins with chaos. Have you ever felt like everything was falling apart? Just when you thought you were finally evolving spiritually? As if life were testing you even harder right after a moment of clarity or expansion? This is no coincidence. It's the hidden pattern of the sacred rupture. Before light settles in, the shadow must be exposed, and the chaos around you is not punishment. It's the collapse of frequencies that no longer match your vibration. It's the dismantling of an old identity, one that once served you, but now blocks your next evolution. Buddha faced the demon Mara under the fig tree. Jesus went into the desert for 40 days. Hermes crossed the abyss of the mind before reaching gnosis. Collapse always precedes the miracle, because only vibrational emptiness can host a new reality, and the ego screams. When it senses it's losing control, you are not being punished. You are being initiated. What feels like a breakdown is often the energetic adjustment required to sustain what you asked for. You asked for light, and the universe is removing the filters, but to see clearly sometimes hurts. It's easy to doubt at this point. The mind questions everything. The body resists. The ancients called this the dark night of the soul, a threshold between who you were and who you're becoming. Crossing. That portal is what separates the curious from the initiated. If you're going through this now, remember, you're not breaking, you're opening, and everything falling apart on the outside is a mirror of what's being rebuilt within. Don't cling to the ruins. The new architecture has already begun, even if you can't see it yet. And when everything seems to lose meaning, it's because a new meaning is being born. That's when the next code reveals itself. A truth that was erased, censored, and rewritten, but carries the lost link between all traditions. And perhaps the one the system fears most for you to awaken. Code 6, the forbidden integration, what they tried to erase from all traditions. Why did the modern world teach us to separate everything? science from spirituality, body from soul, reason from intuition. This division wasn't accidental. It was strategically implanted because fragmented beings are easy to control, but an integrated being becomes unshakable. And this is the truth they fear most for you to discover. Ancient traditions saw no separation. In Egypt, sound was medicine. In India, breath was a gateway to the divine. In Greece, mathematics, geometry, and soul walked hand in hand. To the initiates, everything was an expression of one field. The all, mind, vibration, matter, and consciousness as one. Over time, this wisdom was broken apart. Religion held on to faith. Science took the numbers. Medicine took the body. Philosophy took the mind, and no one saw the whole picture anymore. The human being became a puzzle, and forgot it was a masterpiece. This fragmentation didn't kill the truth, but it silenced it. Today, we feel this as anxiety without cause, a hunger that won't be satisfied, a fatigue that isn't physical, but existential. It's the soul, trying to remember something it once knew, something that now must be reintegrated. Jesus said, "The kingdom is within you." The Kabbalion states, "The all is in all." The Tao Te Ching teaches, "What is above reflects what is below." They all spoke the same truth. Wisdom is one, but was dressed in many robes so it could survive a fragmented world. Integration is more than reconnecting concepts. It's letting the divine live in your body, letting the mind follow the heart, and letting spirituality descend from the clouds to touch the ground of your daily life. True initiation is wholeness. And maybe you already feel it stirring within, a subtle but persistent call, as if something ancient is trying to emerge through your life. Because after all the masks fall away, what remains is the reflection of your purest essence, trying to rise to the surface. Code 7. Awakening the original blueprint. The soul never forgot who you came here to be. There is something in you that has never been wounded, something no criticism, abandonment, or failure ever managed to erase. A silent frequency that has always been there watching. From childhood until now, it has survived every mask you've had to wear, just to survive in a world that forgot itself. This is your original blueprint, not your personality. Not your profession, but the divine archetype your soul carries from long before you were born. The mission that wasn't imposed, it was chosen, and it begins to reveal itself when you stop trying to fit in. Hermes said, "The all imagined the universe within its own mind, and each soul carries a spark of that creative mind. That's why when you awaken, you don't feel better than others. You feel more whole. It's not ambition, but it's return, not achievement, but remembrance." Science calls this quantum coherence. The unified field responds to authentic identity. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align with who you truly are, our reality reorganizes around you like an echo. The universe doesn't reward effort. It mirrors essence. You know that feeling of being in the right place at the right time? Or those moments when everything just flows effortlessly? That's not luck. It's resonance with your soul's original code. It's when your vibration matches the greater purpose that has always been waiting for you. You don't create it, you activate it. But activation isn't control, it's allowing. It's letting go of the resistance to what you already are and letting life express itself through your presence. Because when you vibrate as truth, even silence becomes a miracle. And if you've made it this far, it's because something in you recognizes this call. But the journey isn't over yet. What comes next was never revealed in the title. It's a hidden code, sealed in silence, waiting for the soul bold enough to remember. Hidden code, the sacred listener, the universe responds to those who are ready. You made it here, not by chance, but because you held the invisible long enough for it to finally recognize you back. This code wasn't announced. It only reveals itself to those who completed the circle. The universe doesn't respond to the loudest scream, but to the most authentic silence. It's as if it waits for you to be present enough to hear it without distractions, without masks, without urgency. And when that happens, something changes forever. The ancients called this the sacred listener, a state of consciousness that doesn't seek to control, but to understand. Because those who truly listen transform reality without speaking a word. The frequency of true listening doesn't ask, it calls. This is the state in which the masters operated, Thoth wrote in silence. Jesus paused before healing. Buddha discovered everything, without a single external word. Because the universe only reveals its mysteries to those who stop shouting and begin to hear what vibrates between the lines. If you felt something different during this video, it wasn't just content. It was a vibrational mirror, adjusting your inner frequencies. You weren't learning, you were remembering. And now, you can no longer pretend you don't know. You have become the field. You have become the code. And the entire universe now begins to listen to you in return. Not as someone seeking answers, but as someone finally present to receive. The silence has been decoded, and when that happens, everything changes. Not outside, but within. Because true awakening doesn't shout, it anchors. And in this state, the keys begin to turn, and what once seemed hidden reveals its full design. Now that you've crossed the 7 seals, it's time to look back and see what has been activated within you. Because these codes weren't simply revealed in this video. They were mirrored so that you could recognize them as your own. And what comes next is the final seal. Now you know, nothing was ever lost. Not the teachings, not the codes, not your essence. Everything was simply sealed, veiled, silenced, waiting for the moment you were ready to remember. And maybe that moment was now. Because you don't find knowledge, it recognizes you. You journeyed through Code 1, discovering why the masters hid the truth, to protect it from those who couldn't hold its light. In Code 2, you accessed the mind as the matrix of reality. In Code 3, you understood that your vibration speaks louder than your words. Code 4 showed you the spiral as a path, not punishment. And Code 5 revealed that chaos is the prelude to rebirth. In Code 6, you recovered the lost link between ancient traditions, the integration censored to keep you fragmented. Code 7 reminded you that your original blueprint was never erased. It was only waiting for you to stop, dimming your light and allow your soul to do what it came here to do, to live with purpose, coherence, and presence. And finally, the hidden code sealed everything in silence. You don't need to memorize the codes. You are the codes. They've always been vibrating inside you, as dormant echoes of a cosmic memory. Now you have a choice: to keep listening, or to start vibrating as one who finally heard. If you want to apply these principles and realign your life with prosperity, access the ebook, The Key to Prosperity. Transform your financial life with the Hermetic laws. This sacred map was preserved by initiatic schools and is now available at a symbolic launch price for a limited time. You'll find the link in the pinned comment. But remember, not everyone who watches is ready to live this truth. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to remember. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, not as a favor to this channel, but as an act of vibrational reciprocity. You received. Now, transmit. Because the codes are no longer hidden, they're awakening through you.